3 in the morning when I saw the message on his phone. I read it again, felt my stomach turn, and even then it took me 6 months to finally leave. Sounds crazy, right? But it's just that when everyone tells you you're lucky, when your own family loves him more than they love you, you start to believe the problem is you. I spent 5 years being called crazy, insecure, paranoid, until I discovered he had an entire life hidden from me. I grew up in a family that didn't have much, but we had love, we had togetherness, we had that thing where every Sunday everyone would gather at my grandmother's house. My dad was a construction worker. My mom worked as a house cleaner, and we lived in a small apartment there on the east side of São Paulo. Me, my parents, and my younger brother. I was always the good girl of the family. The one who got good grades, who helped around the house, who didn't cause trouble. My mom always said, "My daughter, you need to study to have a better life than mine. Marry a working man, one who respects you." I took that way too seriously. When I turned 18, I started working as a receptionist at a dental clinic near home. I made minimum wage plus half, but it was my money. I felt important. That's where I met Rafael. He was a sales rep for a dental supplies company, would show up at the clinic every week to take orders, talk to the dentists. He was 26, handsome, tall, always wore these dress shirts all neat, had his own car, a gray Paleo weekend that he took care of like it was a Ferrari. And he was funny, people, so funny, made everyone laugh. Then one day he came to the clinic and spent more time talking to me than usual, asked my name, where I was from, if I was in school. I was taking prep courses trying to get into business school at the public university. He said, "Wow, that's great. Smart women are so attractive." I turned red, right? Nobody had ever complimented me like that. When he left his number at the counter with a little note. "If you want to get coffee after work, hit me up." I kept that paper in my uniform pocket all day, holding it, like it might disappear. It took me 3 days to work up the courage to text him. We started talking on WhatsApp, every day, all day long. He'd send good morning messages with those little flower images, ask how my day was, call me during lunch break just to hear my voice. 2 weeks later, we went out for the first time. He took me to a Japanese restaurant like, I'd never had Japanese food in my life. I was nervous, afraid of making a fool of myself. But he was super sweet, explained what everything was, laughed with me when I couldn't hold the sushi with the chopsticks right. At the end of the night, he drove me home and kissed me at the building entrance. It was perfect. Those movie kisses? I went up to the apartment floating. My mom was waiting for me in the living room. She always waited for me to get home when I went out. Asked how it was. I said, "Mom, I think I'm in love." She laughed, said I was young, that I should take it slow. But I didn't. We started officially dating a month later. Rafael proposed at a park outing, got down on one knee and everything, had even bought me a silver bracelet. I cried, of course, posted pictures on social media. My whole family liked it. My friends commented that we looked beautiful together. And it was good, people, it was really good. He'd pick me up from the clinic every day, even when he had to go way out of his way because of traffic. Would take me to the mall, buy me clothes, perfume, those things I'd never been able to afford. Introduced me to his family at a barbecue, and his mom, Dona Celia, hugged me and said, "What a beautiful girl. My son is lucky." My dad liked him too. They talked about soccer, about work, and at the end, my dad pulled me aside and said, "That one's good people, daughter. Working man, polite, hold on to him." I was on cloud 9, right? Because everyone approved. Everyone thought we were the perfect couple. 6 months into dating, Rafael suggested I move in with him. He'd rented a tiny little house there in Itaquera, 2 rooms, but it was a house, not an apartment. It had a yard and everything. He said, "Babe, we're spending so much on gas with all this back and forth. Doesn't make sense for us to live apart if we spend every day together anyway. And this way we save money. You help me with half the rent and bills. It's better for both of us." Made sense, right? And I really wanted to wake up every day next to him, cook for us, have that couple life. My mom didn't really like the idea. She was more traditional, thought we should get married first. But my dad said, "Woman, let the girl be. Times are different. And Rafael is a good guy. Won't let her lack for anything. I moved on a Tuesday in March. I remember to this day. We filled his car with my stuff, which wasn't even that much. Like 3 suitcases of clothes, my products, some books. When we got there, he'd bought new sheets, new towels, had left everything all organized, made spaghetti with meatballs for dinner. We ate sitting on the living room floor because we didn't have a proper table yet. It was perfect. The first few weeks were like a honeymoon, you know? We'd wake up together, have breakfast together. He'd drop me at the clinic, would stop by at lunch sometimes to take me out to eat something. At night, we'd watch movies, talk, make plans. He talked about getting married, having kids, buying a bigger house. I felt complete. But then things started to change. Like, small stuff at first. He started getting annoyed when I'd go out with my friends. Bruna, who was my best friend since high school, invited me to her birthday party on a Saturday. I told Rafael on Thursday. He gave that crooked smile and said, "Oh, you're gonna leave me alone on Saturday?" I said, "Babe, it's my friend's birthday. I can't not go." He said, "No, go ahead. No problem." But he spent the rest of the week kind of weird, cold with me. On Saturday, I got ready, put on a black dress I liked, did my makeup. He was sitting on the couch on his phone. When I walked through the living room, he looked up and said, "You're going like that?" Me. "Like what?" Him. "In that outfit. It's too short, don't you think?" I looked in the mirror. People. The dress came to my knee. There was nothing wrong with it. But he kept insisting, "I don't know. I think it's too revealing. But go ahead, if you want to go like that." I felt unsure. You know, it stayed in my head. I ended up changing, put on jeans and a more basic top. He smiled. "That's better. You look beautiful either way." At the party, I was on my phone the whole time talking to him. He'd text every 15 minutes asking what I was doing, if there was lots of drinking, if there were lots of guys. I'd answer everything, trying to calm him down. 11:30 he called. "What time are you coming to bed? I miss you." I said I'd stay a little longer, that we still had to sing happy birthday to Bruna. He hung up kind of angry. Midnight he texted, "All right then. Enjoy your party. I'm going to bed." I felt guilty, you know, and ended up leaving at 1. Bruna was upset, said I always left early. But I needed to go back. Didn't want him mad at me. When I got home, he was awake, watching TV. Pretending he wasn't waiting for me, but it was obvious he was. I said, "Hi, babe. Sorry for being late." Him. "It's cool. Have fun." But it was with that tone, you know, that passive-aggressive tone. I tried to kiss him. He turned his face away. I said, "Are you mad?" Him. "I'm not. I'm cool. I just think it's funny you prioritize your little friends over me. But I get it. You need your social life." And then he got up and went to the bedroom. I stayed there in the living room, confused, feeling guilty. I went after him, apologized, said next time I'd come back earlier. He hugged me and said, "It's just that I love you so much, and I get jealous. I don't want to lose you." This started happening over and over. Every time I talked about going out with friends, he'd get weird. He wouldn't forbid it, but he'd make me feel bad. So I started turning down invitations. Bruna would invite me to the movies. I'd make up an excuse. Would invite me to her place. I'd say I was tired. She started getting upset, and I didn't know how to explain that it was because I didn't want to make my boyfriend sad. With my family, it was similar. My mom would call wanting me to come have lunch there on Sunday. Rafael would go, "But we're running around all week. Sunday is the only day we have to be together, alone. Doesn't your mom understand that?" I'd end up canceling. My mom started complaining that I'd disappeared. My brother said I'd changed, that I only thought about my boyfriend. I tried to explain, but they didn't understand. Rafael started going through my social media too. We were lying down watching a show, and he grabbed my phone, like, without asking. Got on my Instagram and started scrolling through the feed. Stopped on a photo that a guy from the clinic Tiago had liked. It was a photo of me at the beach, in a bikini, that I'd posted months ago, even before I met Rafael. He stared at it and said, "Who's this Tiago?" Me. "He's a guy who works with me." Him. "And why is he liking your bikini photos?" Me. Babe, that photo is old and he likes everyone's photos. Rafael. Right, delete that photo. Me. What do you mean delete it? Him. Delete it. You have a boyfriend. You don't need to be posting bikini photos for guys to drool over. We argued, but in the end I deleted it. Because he stayed moody the rest of the night, and I couldn't stand that heavy atmosphere. I started having to send screenshots of where I was. If I left work and went to the store, he'd ask me to send a photo of the store. If I went to the pharmacy, he'd ask for my location. He'd say it was because he worried about me, that the city was dangerous. I thought it was strange, but at the same time I thought, at least he cares about me, right? With money, things got weird too. We'd agreed to split the bills, but he started getting on my case about how much I spent. Why did you buy that cream that's more expensive? Wasn't there a cheaper one? Do you really need those new clothes? You have so many clothes. I started feeling guilty for spending on anything. At the same time, he'd buy beer for himself every weekend, buy new sneakers, but if I bought lipstick, he thought it was wasteful. Then he suggested we put our money in one account, that it would be easier to manage. Me, like an idiot, agreed. We opened a joint account. My salary went in there. His went in. But he was the one who controlled it, because he understood finances better. I'd ask him for money when I needed to buy something. Ask my boyfriend. For money, that was mine. A year and a half into the relationship, I found out I didn't pass the entrance exam again. I tried for 2 years and couldn't make it. I cried a lot. Rafael said, "Babe, stop that. Maybe college isn't for you. It's okay. You're already working. You're contributing at home. It's great the way it is." I felt like he was relieved, like he didn't want me to actually study. My friends had disappeared. Bruna had stopped inviting me. When we'd run into each other by chance, she was kind of cold to me. I understood. I'd abandoned her. I saw my family once a month. My routine was home, work, home, and Rafael. Then things started happening that left me really confused. He started coming home later, 10 at night, 11 at night, said he had meetings, had clients, but he'd arrive smelling like women's perfume. I'd ask. He'd say it was from the client's secretary who'd hugged him, or that it was from the office air conditioning that someone had sprayed perfume in. Always had an explanation. His phone kept ringing and he wouldn't answer in front of me. Would take it to the bathroom, to the yard, put a password on his phone, said it was for security, that he had work information on there. I'd ask to see it. He'd get mad. "You don't trust me? After everything I do for you?" And then would come that whole spiel, that he paid most of the bills, that he picked me up, that he gave me everything I needed, and I didn't trust him. I'd apologize. Always me apologizing. But I'm not stupid, right? I knew something was wrong. It's just that when you're inside it, when you've built an entire life with someone, you want to believe. You need to believe. Because the alternative is accepting that you're being made a fool of, and that hurts too much. One night he got home at 12:30. I was awake, waiting. He got there, went straight to shower, something he always did when he came home late. Came into the bedroom. I was sitting on the bed. I said, "We need to talk." Him, "Not now, I'm tired." Me, "Now. I need to know what's going on. You're different, you're distant, you're coming home late every day." He sat on the bed, ran his hand over his face and said, "What's going on is you're paranoid. You're creating problems where there aren't any. I'm working, trying to build a future for us, and you're having these anxiety attacks." I started crying. He huffed, "Here we go. I can't take it anymore. You cry about everything. You're unbearable. You changed. You're annoying. You're not that girl I met anymore." And you know what's worse? I believed him. I thought the problem was me, that I was being paranoid, that I was exaggerating, that I had to improve. I started doing more things to please him. Cooked the dishes he liked, didn't complain when he came home late, didn't ask anything anymore. Stayed quiet. Until one day, about 4 months after that conversation, I was cleaning the house. Went to change his pillowcase and a piece of paper fell from between the sheets. It was a small paper, folded. I opened it. It was a phone number. Underneath it said, "Call me, Camilla," with a heart drawn. My whole body froze. I sat there on the bedroom floor with that paper in my hand, shaking. Camilla. Who was Camilla? I went to the living room, grabbed my phone, typed the number into WhatsApp to see if there was a profile picture. There was. A blonde woman, pretty, smiling, in a red dress. Profile picture of someone who wants to be seen, you know. I went up to check her status. She had one from 3 hours ago. A photo of 2 wine glasses and romantic music playing. Caption: perfect night. I freaked out. Started crying. That cry where no sound comes out. You know, that cry where you open your mouth but nothing comes out because the pain is so huge there's no voice for it. I called Rafael. He didn't answer. Called again. Nothing. Texted, "Call me now." He saw it. Didn't respond. I called 5 more times. Nothing. 2 hours later, he got home. I was sitting on the couch with the paper in my hand. He walked in, saw my face, and already knew. Said, "What's wrong?" I showed him the paper. He went white, took the paper from my hand, looked at it and said, "Where did you find this?" Me. "It fell from your bed." "Who is Camila?" He laughed. "People," he laughed. Said, "You're crazy. That's from a client. It's a client's wife who gave me the number to call to schedule a meeting." Me. "And why is there a heart drawn? And why was it hidden in your pillow?" Him. "I don't know. She's the one who put the heart. And it wasn't hidden, it was there because I put it in my pocket and then took it out and left it anywhere. You're tripping." But I didn't believe him. I grabbed my phone and showed him her WhatsApp profile. "Is this her?" He looked and said, "Yeah." "So what?" Me. "Rafael, she posted a status tonight with wine glasses. You got home at midnight. You were with her." He exploded. Shouted, "I can't take it anymore. You're crazy. You're sick. I can't live like this anymore with you watching me, accusing me. If you don't trust me, then break up with me." I froze. Because I didn't want to break up. I didn't know how to live without him. I'd invested 2 years of my life in that relationship. Had distanced myself from everyone. Had put him at the center of everything. Breaking up meant admitting I'd been wrong, that I'd wasted time, that I'd lost friendships. And I wasn't ready. So I swallowed it. Swallowed it and apologized. "Sorry, babe. Sorry. I'm wrong. I trust you. Sorry." He hugged me, said he loved me, that I needed to stop with that I was going to end up destroying our relationship. I agreed. I said I'd get better. I tore up the paper and threw it away, but I didn't forget the name. Camilla. I started stalking her on Instagram. Every day I'd go to her profile. She'd post photos at restaurants. I'd look to see if I recognized the place. She'd post photos in her car. I'd look to see if I could see anything that would give me a clue. I became a stalker, and I hated myself for it. Felt sick, pathetic, but I couldn't stop. 3 months later, on a Saturday morning, Rafael said he was going to play soccer with friends. Something he did all the time. Left the house at 10 in the morning, but this time I did something I'd never done. I followed him. Got an Uber and asked to follow his car from a distance. I was shaking the whole way, thinking I was really going crazy. He didn't go to the field. He went to a condo complex there in São Mateus, parked the car, went in. I had the driver stop at the corner. I waited. 2 hours went by. I was there, in the heat, inside the Uber. The driver was already finding all this strange. I paid him and asked him to leave, said I'd wait right there. Stayed sitting at a bus stop across from the complex. 12:30, Rafael came out, and she was with him. Camilla, blonde, pretty, in shorts and a top, laughing, hanging on his arm. He gave her a kiss on the mouth before getting in the car. A long kiss. It wasn't a friend kiss. It was a couple kiss. I took pictures. Took several. He got in the car and drove off. She stayed there waving. I stayed sitting at that bus stop looking at the photos on my phone, unable to process what I'd just seen. I went back home by bus, got there at 12:50. He arrived at 2:30, sweaty, with his soccer bag, as if he'd really played soccer. Came in, gave me a kiss, said, "Hey babe, I'm dead. Soccer was tough today." Went to shower. I was sitting at the kitchen table, with my phone in my hand, looking at the photos. All I thought was, 2 years. 2 years of lies. When he came out of the shower, I called him. "Rafael, come here." He came. I showed him the photos. His face collapsed. He stared at the phone, not knowing what to say, then tried to take the phone from my hand. I held on tight. "No. You're going to explain. Now. No lies." He sat down, ran his hand through his hair, and started talking. That he met her at a bar 6 months ago. That it was just once at first, but it had become something more. That he was confused. That he didn't know what to do. That he loved me, but that he'd gotten involved. That she was pressuring him to break up with me, but he didn't want to. That it was all very complicated. I listened to all of that, in shock. 6 months. He'd been with her for 6 months and I didn't know. I asked, "Do you love her?" He took too long to answer. Too long. And that silence was my answer. I got up, grabbed my purse and said, "It's over." He got up behind me. "No, wait. Calm down, let's talk." Me. "There's nothing to talk about. It's over. I'm going to my mom's. And you take my stuff out of the joint account we have." Him. "Babe, don't do this. We can work it out. I'll break up with her. I choose you." And I looked at him. And for the first time in a long time, I really saw him. Saw a man who had manipulated me, who had isolated me, who had made me believe I was crazy, who had stolen my trust, my time, my peace. And I said, "No, it's over." I left the house that day with a backpack of clothes, went to my mom's house. She hugged me and cried with me. Didn't say "I told you so," didn't say anything, just hugged me. My dad stayed quiet, but I saw the sadness in his eyes. I think he felt guilty for having supported Rafael. The following days were horrible. Rafael called me constantly, sent messages saying he'd broken up with her, that it had been a mistake, that he loved me, that we could start over. I blocked him. Then he started sending messages through my mom, through my brother, through my coworkers. Showed up at the clinic twice. I had to ask his boss to stop sending him there. I stayed 3 months at my mom's house. Slept in the bed I'd slept in my whole life, in my teenage bedroom, with my old posters, as if the last 2 years hadn't existed. I cried every day. Cried from anger, from sadness, from shame. Because I'd believed him. Because I'd given up so much for him. But you know what was worse? It was realizing I didn't miss him. I missed the idea of him. The idea of having someone. Of having a relationship. Of having that life I'd built in my head. But him, the real Rafael, I didn't miss. And that showed me that it had never been real love. It was dependence. It was fear of being alone. I started therapy. My mom paid for the first sessions because I didn't have money. Because when I went to take my money out of the joint account, I discovered he'd withdrawn almost everything, had left only 300 reais, 2 years of salary, and I had 300 reais. I went to court, but to this day I haven't seen that money back. I started talking to Bruna again. Sent her a message apologizing. She responded right away, said she'd been worried, that she'd noticed I was trapped in that relationship but didn't know how to help me. We met up, I told her everything, and she hugged me and said, "You're strong. You managed to get out. A lot of people can't." 6 months later, I rented a tiny apartment, 1 bedroom and living room. But it was mine. I furnished it little by little, with what I could save up. Every spoon, every pot, every sheet I bought with my money, and that was worth gold to me, because it was mine. Nobody had power over that. Nobody was going to come and say I'd spent too much, that I'd bought the wrong thing. Today, 3 years later, I'm doing well. I'm not doing great, I won't lie, because there are still days when I look in the mirror and see that insecure girl who believed his lies. But I'm better. I have friends again, I go out, I travel, I post bikini photos without fear. I went back to school. I'm doing online business administration because I realized I still wanted that he'd convinced me to give up. I got promoted at the clinic. Now I'm an administrative assistant. I earn a little more. Dating? No. I'm not ready yet, but I'm open. I'm meeting people, going out, having fun. No rush, no desperation. I ran into Rafael once at a store about 8 months ago. He was with another woman. It wasn't Camilla. He saw me, got uncomfortable, waved from far away. I waved back and continued doing my shopping. I didn't feel anything. Not anger, not sadness. It was liberating. If you're reading this and identified with any part of my story, I just wanted to tell you, don't wait to have proof. Don't wait to catch him red-handed. Your intuition isn't wrong. If you feel something is wrong, there probably is. And you don't have to put up with it. You don't owe anyone anything. You're not obligated to stay because you've already spent time together, because his family likes you, because you're afraid of being alone. You're already alone, even being with him, but alone the right way, free alone. You can rebuild yourself. I did it. You can too. And let me tell you, life after is so much better, so much lighter, so much more yours. You wake up without that weight on your chest, without that fear of doing something wrong, without having to ask permission to exist. You become yourself again. You know, that person you were before you met him, or even a better version, a version that learned, that grew, that got stronger. If you want to share your story here on the channel, leave it in the comments. We read all the stories, all of them really, and maybe yours can help someone else who's going through the same thing. Because sometimes we just need to hear that we're not alone, that other women went through this and survived, to have the courage to take the first step. And if you identified with this story, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, comment down below what you thought, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Because the more we talk about this, the more we take these situations out of invisibility, you know, and more women will have the courage to leave, to report, to start over. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, that's important. About 6 months after I broke up, Camila messaged me. That's right, she found me on Instagram. At first I was angry, thought about blocking her, but then I decided to read what she had to say. And you know what she said? That he'd done the same thing to her. That while he was with me and with her, he had yet another third woman. People. The guy had 3 relationships at the same time. 3. And we didn't know anything. That he'd lied to her saying he'd broken up with me months ago. That I was crazy. That I stalked him. That I made things up. The same story he told me about other women. He used my name to make her feel sorry for him. To make her think he was the victim. We talked a lot that day. Like, really talked. Exchanged lots of messages. And she apologized to me, cried, said that if she'd known I didn't know anything, that we were still together, she never would have been with him. That she'd also been deceived. I believed her. Because she was also a victim, right? He lied to both of us. Manipulated both of us. Used both of us. The fault wasn't hers. The fault was his. She told me that after I broke up with him, he stayed with her for about 2 more months, promising that now, yes, he was going to make the relationship official, that he was going to introduce her to his family, those things, until she discovered the so-called third woman through a comment on Facebook. Then she confronted him, and you know what he did? Disappeared. Just disappeared. Blocked her from everything, didn't respond anymore, and she found out through a mutual friend that he'd moved to another city, to the interior of São Paulo. Like, the guy just remade his life somewhere else so nobody would discover the shit he did. Left everyone behind, all the lies, and went to start over somewhere else. Probably doing the same thing with other women. Coward, right? But that's how these guys work. They don't change. They don't wake up one day and think, wow, I messed up a lot, I'm going to change. No. They just look for new victims, in new places, where nobody knows their history. So that's it. My story isn't special, isn't unique, I'm not the first, and unfortunately I won't be the last. There are thousands of women who go through this every day, at this exact moment. But I wanted to share because when I was there, alone in that house, thinking I was crazy, that I was paranoid, that I was exaggerating, I really wanted to have heard someone say, no, you're not crazy. What's happening to you has a name. It's called manipulation. It's called gaslighting. It's called emotional abuse. And maybe if I'd heard that before, if I'd seen a video like this, a similar story, I would have left earlier, would have saved months of suffering, of therapy, of rebuilding. So if this story saves one person, if it helps one woman notice the signs before it's too late, if it makes someone understand that she deserves more, that she deserves to be truly happy. It was worth it. It was worth every word I said here. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, truly from my heart. Big kiss, and lots of strength to those who are fighting, to those who are trying to leave, to those who are starting over. You can do it. I promise you that you can do it. One day at a time, but you can do it.